Hey guys, my name is Leanna. I am a senior editor over at Game Informer. I actually don't know if I ever put the video up that said I got promoted, but there we are. Yay, promoted! Sorry for the no makeup. No, I'm pretty sure I did not brush my hair today, but I wanted to do a video because it is heavy on my noggin, and I need to talk about some things with Destiny. So we're gonna hobo it up, and you're gonna be patient with me because this is something that I've just been balls deep in Destiny lore. I'm a huge Destiny fan. I know I mostly talk about Mass Effect, but I am fans of other games too, I promise. And just the way that this season right now, season of the Splicer, is going, is just kind of reaffirming a piece I wrote about during Season of the Chosen, that Bungie is just going for it. Like, they are doing some big moves with the lore and with the story, and it is honestly a really positive turning point for the company because, you know, we all know it was a little bit rough. They did not have the best launch. I feel like Forsaken DLC is kind of doing to Destiny 2 what Taken King did for the first game. And I feel like after the post-Activision split, I feel like they have really found their voice and their vision. I think there was a little bit of a recuperating period where Bungie was trying to relearn what it wanted to do without the control of another company kind of lording over. And I feel like it's hit its stride really nicely with Season of the Chosen and Season of the Splicer, but it began with Forsaken. I feel like Forsaken really kind of showed a pivotal point of yo, we're not scared to take risks. But okay, so spoilers, I can't tell if they're gonna be mild spoilers or not. I'm gonna try to keep them mild, but you know me, I kind of just ramble. So just a spoiler warning that this video will most likely have spoilers. I'm also, another warning, I apologize in advance, I am on a plethora of painkillers. I was in the ER last week, and basically every day has been a struggle since my release, which is another reason why I kind of look rough, because it's a lot. It's a lot right now, but I'm getting better. Self-care, y'all. So anyways, what for me, I wanted to talk about, because right now, Season of the Splicer, you know, we had that really monumental moment where Saint 14 kind of had to confront, am I the monster with the Fallen? We have the Fallen refugee camp. Lakshmi is just being a hoe bag. She's being just mean and racist as shit and just weird. And she's kind of doing this propaganda with the people of the city of trying to rally them against the Fallen, which Fallen are basically, even though they've been our enemies this entire time, they're now refugees, seeking asylum and seeking help. And Lakshmi had basically had their entire camp raided, their supplies destroyed, their food. And then she tried to act like, oh no, it wasn't me, I don't know what happened. Shut up. But there's been just this this turning point. You know, we've kind of thought that the storyline surrounding Guardians was gonna get darker, no pun intended, with the darkness. For a couple of seasons now, even arguably a few expansions, there's been tidbits here and there of are we flirting with that edge? Are we the good guys? Are we the bad guys? I don't know. Let's investigate. But there's some shit going on right now that is really just fourth wall breaking. And we've had that, to be clear, we've had moments of did they just Deadpool us? Throughout the history of Destiny, we've seen it with the Other Side Sparrow, where the tab of the lore talks about the player on the other side, and then of course other people were arguing no, that's just talking about the darkness and the duality of darkness and the light. And I still maintain that was a little bit of fourth wall breakage. And then we had other, you know, things, you know, lore tabs that are talking about the player is just as smart and powerful as the Guardian. So it's recognizing that the player is this separate entity that is not the Guardian. That us. And then there's other parts we've seen with the Nine and the Emissary. We're talking about you know, just who the player is, and I don't understand, and they're trying to, Emissary's trying to explain it. The Nine's I don't understand what you're talking about. Emissary's it's much bigger than this world, which is a big whole to do. And then we've had it with the Akamara gear, and then we've had it with you know, even the Darcy lore, that was something that is something that I remember thinking that was kind of weird, is because with the Darcy lore, which is a weapon, it talks about like player activities. Like, so we know that Crucible exists in the Destinyverse, but you don't talk about it like match, my losing team, respawn, like gamer terminology. But the Darcy lore kind of did, and it also talked about strikes, and it talked about just an abundance of player activities from the player perspective. So this whole fourth wall theory started to kind of reach ahead with the last 2 weeks, because we know Savathun's back. Every NPC and their mother is hearing / singing the song. The song is even in the soundtrack of the game. We know that she is assuming the guise of someone in the city. There was a big leak that I'm not going to talk about because I feel like that's incredibly disrespectful to the creative team, but there's a bunch of stuff that is going on with the Witch Queen, and obviously we know that's the next expansion, so obviously they're going to be gearing up to something big with them. Osiris is acting a little suspish. Poor saint. Bless him. You know, there's just a lot of things going on where it's like, you know, what's going to happen with Savathûn? Are we going to end up fighting for her? Are we going to fighting with her? Are we going to be fighting against her? What does this mean for all the really important figureheads in the last city that are hearing this song? Like, what is going to happen? Where is this crescending to? What's interesting is one of the new activities for this new season of the Splicer is called Expunge, and it kind of evolves, and it goes to different areas. But then now we have the Corrupted, where you know see the blights all over the place. It's a lot harder, and I hate jumping puzzles, so it's like my personal hell. But what is interesting is with this fourth wall and with Savathûn is we actually think she's talking to us, because so you have your in-game, I keep hitting my mic, sorry. We have, you know, the in-game setup, and then we have the HUD. And the in-game setup is what the character sees, but the HUD is specifically for the player. Now, some people have argued that the HUD is what it actually looks like through the lens of your helmet, like it's a digital interface. I don't buy that, because there are so many different helms that have different properties. Some are more technologically advanced, some aren't, some are a little bit more primitive, and the HUD looks the same no matter what. So I think that's a little bit stretching of people saying like, no, that's still the character. I don't think so. The HUD is for the player. Okay? And when you're doing the Corrupted Expunge, we actually saw atop the HUD, the top left corner, Savathûn was actually like talking to us as the player, not the character. Nay, this is like fourth wall breaking shit, you guys. And you know, it's kind of getting a little menacing and foreboding, and we know like, okay, shit's about to go down. But it did make me kind of go back and think of all those little instances where I was like, wait, no, so not only is there going to be something big with Savathûn, are we Savathûn? Like, I mean, my mind is going nuts. And to be fair, it could absolutely be the Viking. And I don't take painkillers ever, so my brain is like really fucking confused right now. But like the fact that we've had so much, and even like the expanded lore, there's comics, there's lore books, there's art books, and all of this kind of expands upon what we know from the game itself. But even in the lore books, like there are kind of indicators that not only is the game recognizing, and powerful figures in the game like Savathûn recognizing that the player and the character are two separate entities, but connected beyond just a playable experience. But I don't want to say it, because if I'm wrong, people are gonna be like, this bitch knows nothing. But like, I kind of feel like Savathûn is gonna be like the antithesis of us. Like, she is us. So like, the guardian is the light, obviously, but the player, because everything in life is about duality. You have the night to your day, you have your pain to your pleasure, you have your black to your white. Everything in life has a dual spectrum. Everything, without exception, everything in life has a duality and an other side of its existence to basically justify its existence. So if they're kind of playing into this narrative that Savathûn is us, could that be, or Savathûn is somehow connected to the real world? Is that the dark version of our light guardian? And that's us. And did we corrupt it because of our real life experience? Like all the times we've had these like fourth wall breaking moments, whether it be Darcy, whether it be the Akamar, I can never say that, gear, like the helmet and the gauntlets, whether that be Expunge, whether that be the Sparrow lore that I talked about earlier. It all talks about how the player is just as smart and powerful as you. And that's kind of putting it on this like equal footing. But if it's equal, then how does it differ? What's the obvious way it would differ? Light versus dark. Are we the darkness? Are we the assholes corrupting the world of Destiny? Are they doing this like really big moment where, you know, they always talk about community and it's about the community, but like, what if they're like taking that very literally, and the game is the community? Like we are corrupting it with our real life experience. I don't know if that's even accurate. I could be completely off my rocker. I don't know if that was always the plan, or if maybe COVID and everybody being working from home and being isolated somehow like inspired this like darker than shit narrative. But the game has gotten really dark. Like really dark. It's always had an element of darkness, obviously, because we have literal darkness. But I feel like with Forsaken, Bungie just kind of was like, you know what? We have this vision and we're going to take our community on one hell of a ride. And I feel like that's what they're doing. And I'm really interested because there's people, we saw a glimpse of concept art for the Witch King or Witch Queen expansion. That's the next expansion coming up, and it really kind of drove people to think that maybe we're going to Old Chicago. I wrote about that on Game Informer. If you want to look into that, I can link that if you guys need. But there's all these theories about where we're going next, but not a whole lot about what her actual role will be. And there's even parts where, like with the Emissary and the Nine, if you're playing a male character, they reference as a male. If you play as a female character, they reference as a female. And those are those moments, those tiny little details that kind of tailor it to, you're more than just a player of a game. You're an active participant in the world building, but we don't know it because we're not supposed to know it. We're in the darkness. I'm just saying, you guys, even like funny moments, like it's not always these like big dramatic reveals of the fourth wall. Like there's this really funny moment I remember, I don't remember when it was, but I remember laughing and I clipped it, where I was like trying to work and play at the same time, and so I was like AFK a little bit longer than I should have been, and I guess I was away too long because Cade was like, hey, while you're gone, you want to make me a sandwich? And fourth wall, Cade Deadpooled me. I would say Cade DP'd me, but we don't we don't need that on the internet. But yeah, so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about that, because like, do you think I'm right? Or could we be Savathun? Could that be the dualistic nature of the Guardian of Light versus Dark? It's this storyline has been so intertwined. Is Bungie going to make it literal? Like, what's going to happen next season? We have so many elements of the game itself that is changing too. We have crossplay coming. Transmog just dropped this season. I'm sure they're going to make transmog adjustments for next season. There's all these elements that are making the community more binded together, and arguably, and this is kind of where I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here, folks, but like arguably that could just be, these are features that we've been begging for since Destiny 1, so that really could not mean shit. But what if it's connected somehow? Like, what if they're removing the boundaries, giving us more control, because that's who we are? I'm sure I'll sober up and I'll be like, what the hell were you talking about, Leanna? Delete this video right now. We'll see how you guys respond. But I want to hear your theories, because like, I've been digging really, really deeply into the lore. I've been rereading the comics. I've been kind of going through the old lore tabs, because it's been the ones that have been a while since I've looked at them. And I am like balls deep into conspiracy theories. So hit me with your best ones, guys. Your best ones. Also, if you hurt my crow, nay. You cannot, I was not prepared to like the crow. Aldrin was designed to be hated. He was such an arrogant asshole in the first game. He was batshit crazy in the second game. He died. These are old spoilers too, so I don't count this in that spoiler tag earlier. But he died. He killed Cade 6. He was a big reason behind our like big revenge arc. And then he is reincarnated, made a guardian, and he's the crow. The crow is not Aldrin. The crow would not exist without Aldrin, but crow is not Aldrin. big, long, complicated thing. A lot of people at Bungie smoke pot, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, my hatred of the character Aldrin, I was not expecting to even like the Crow, much less him become like one of my favorite characters. And now, you know, we first heard him singing the song at last season. Before anybody else started kind of humming that familiar tune, he was, you know, doing a little whistle thing. And y'all take him away from me after you made me like him. I will do nothing but respect you because I love you, Bungie, but still I will be very disappointed and mildly angry in your general direction. I hope you feel it. So that's me. I'm really excited to see what's next. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, am I missing any fourth wall breaks? Am I misremembering something? Because I have a terrible memory. I could be misremembering. Shout it out because we need to have a chat. Now. Thank you. Anyways, thank you guys for dealing with my rambling. I know this was pretty stupid, but hey, we're under 20 minutes, which I think is a first for me. I was aiming for 7, but neither here nor there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will link some links I wrote the last month below, including how I fell in love with the Crow, how Season of the Chosen marked a true turning point for the franchise, and even a particular mission that happened with Season of the Splicer that really touched me in a deep way. I will link those if you're interested. If not, totally cool, no pressure. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.